Sabotaging America. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, if the not-so-esteemed Saul Alinsky were alive today, he'd be smiling. His book, Rules for Radicals, laid out a step-by-step blueprint for destabilizing America. Pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. Demonize your opponent, protect the mob, overwhelm the system until it breaks. And this week, we saw it on full display in Chicago, where the mayor there has clearly joined the radicals' cause.
The right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
Okay, if anyone is trying to start a war on our streets and our cities, it's not conservatives. It's the hard left and their Democrat protectorate, people like Brandon Johnson. Because they began battling in earnest in the summer of 2020, using George Floyd's death as a pretext. The destruction, and we saw it in city after city, was excused. The lawlessness was celebrated as righteous rage. Because what's been happening in Portland and Chicago shows us the truth, well, Democrats' primary goal, it's not to keep their residents safe or restore order. Their primary goal is sabotaging the Trump administration and, by extension, the federal government. And I'm talking by any means necessary. Now, look at what happened in Chicago this week. ICE and Border Patrol agents on a lawful enforcement mission were followed. They were boxed in by 10 vehicles, nearly run over, and shot at.
We had a caravan of 10 different vehicles that were following our Border Patrol agents and officers that were out there on the streets of Chicago. And they had followed them and gotten them cornered, pinned them down. And then our agents, when getting out of their cars, they tried to run them over and had semi-automatic handguns on them, to where our agents had to protect themselves, and shots were fired.
Now, this wasn't mostly peaceful. This was a coordinated ambush of federal officers in an American city. Two suspects, Marimar Martinez and Anthony Ian Santos, are already facing charges for forcibly assaulting federal officers. And by the way, when those agents, the ICE agents under siege, called for backup from the Chicago PD, the message that went out was not, we're on our way, no problem. It was, no units will respond to this.
And again, per the Chief of Patrol, we have all the units that, per 999, Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
We're busy today. Now, the transmitted message that was sent to all CPD relayed the same message. And they quoted the Chief of Patrol says no units will respond to this. Consistent. So you got federal agents trapped, shots fired, and Chicago PD told not to help. Well, today, clean up on aisle 5, as Police Superintendent Larry Snelling told us not to believe our eyes or our ears.
I would never tell our officers to stand down, because if our officers were in trouble and we needed help from other officers, I would expect those officers to step in and help us. When someone is in trouble, we're going to step in.
Okay, it's time to parse the language. He said, no, we don't tell people to stand down. Well, no, you're right. They didn't use the words stand down, but that clearly was the order. The underlying message, do not show up. So they were caught in the disturbing dereliction of their duty, putting federal officers' lives at risk. The CPD dispatch was unequivocal. No response to a distress call. Think about that. That's not protecting the city. That's political sabotage of federal law enforcement, and it's prosecutable, by the way. Now, for his part, the odious Mayor Johnson didn't even pretend to deny any of this.
When it comes to civil immigration enforcement, absent a warrant, our police department will not dub as federal ICE agents. In fact, we believe it's antithetical to driving violence down in the city of Chicago.
No, so we're not going to help those guys, the feds, because they're actually the problem. So in Johnson, Chicago, ICE agents can be surrounded by armed mobs, and the police won't help because protecting federal law enforcement is antithetical to public safety? This is what people vote for there? This is insanity. And remember, the same mayor has also created ICE-free zones. He's telling all the different, regions, create your zones so the criminals can operate with impunity, and criminals will be able to escape on lawful arrest.
The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Everyone's asking me all day long, who's the woman with the ice, the nose ring? I have no idea who it is, so don't ask me again. Okay, well, in other words, they're going to attempt to make ICE's job impossible in blatant interference with federal law. Again, the ghost of Alinsky's hovering here. This is flat out demonizing ICE in an attempt to make their jobs impossible. Again, classic Alinsky, freezing the target.
We're urging our protesters remain calm, peaceful protests, exercise your First Amendment rights, but videotape everything. For the large part, people are being very quiet, are being very respectful, but ICE is being very aggressive. Remember that they are zip-tying children. They are raiding apartment blocks in the middle of the night, separating children from their families, pulling people out onto the streets naked. They are using Gestapo tactics in Chicago, and this is what Trump wants to do, right? He wants to intimidate the people of Chicago.
Okay, for a proud U.S. military veteran, an amazing service, by the way, I salute her for her service. That was a disgusting comment. She knows the way she's characterizing that is false. Zip ties are used for the safety of other people in that apartment building. She knows it. Children are separated from criminals all day long, all night long in every state in the United States of America, Senator, and you know that, so stop lying. And, of course, Pritzker claims that by dispersing the violent mob, again, ICE is the problem.
The Trump administration is following a playbook: cause chaos, create fear and confusion, make it seem like peaceful protesters are a mob by firing gas pellets and tear gas canisters at them. Why? To create the pretext for invoking the Insurrection Act so that he can send military troops to our city.
Okay, my question is he not looking at the video? Do they not see what's going on near these ICE officers? Did he not see the cars pinning them in? Did he not see what was going on at Broadview? Guys, this is not about policy disagreements. It's not about protecting the migrants or, you know, we welcome all migrants to the country or asylum seekers. Not about any of that. They don't care about the migrants. This is about celebrating and perpetuating lawlessness. It's blatant impeding of federal law enforcement, which, again, is a federal crime. Again, they know what they're doing. It is classic Alinsky. Remember, the Rules for Radicals was the younger Obama's favorite how-to manual for effective organizing. And this is where Alinsky, again, comes back into play. Remember, pick the target, freeze it, personalize it, polarize it. This is what happened time and again in Chicago. They want chaos because chaos creates fear, and fear creates political opportunity. And they're willing to endanger federal agents and help criminals escape if it means sabotaging Trump, and the next Trump, and the next Trump after that. And, of course, dismantling the institutions they can't control. That is also the goal. Their ultimate takedown target, however, America itself. And that's the angle.
Democrats are telling us they want a rematch of the Civil War.
The right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
We don't want a rematch. The president hasn't declared war on anyone, but they've declared him public enemy number one.
It is time to recognize that while you thought the enemy was the immigrant, or you thought the enemy was the trans person, or you thought that the enemy was the black folk, it is not any of those people on the list. It is the old white Nepo baby that is sitting in the White House.
Chicago's taking up arms. Over the weekend, this windy city looked like Fort Sumter.
Let's go! Get out of the road now! Get back! Get back! Get back!
Thugs in bandanas threw rocks and bottles at ICE agents on patrol. Chicago police, nowhere to be found. One woman with a rifle rammed her car into an ICE vehicle, using it as a weapon. The ICE vehicle was disabled, leaving agents trapped and forced to open fire. The driver, Miramar Martinez, she was flagged last week for doxing agents and posting this, quote, "Hey, to all my gang, let's F these mother effers up. Don't let them take anyone." This was the second ramming incident over the weekend. The feds tried calling for backup, but Chicago PD was ordered to pull a Benghazi.
And again, per the Chief of Patrol, we have all the units that, per 999, Chief of Patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
Chicago PD says they did show up, but the dispatch you just heard said they were told to stand down. The mayor of Chicago doesn't think all lives matter.
Do you want Chicago police not to help ICE agents?
Our police department will respond to every incident in which their services are needed to keep people safe, protecting the fundamental right to be able to protest, ensuring the maximum safety of our residents.
Johnson's signaling that the police's priority is protecting protesters above everyone else. Agents are getting attacked with cars, projectiles, and being shot at across the country. But Governor Ribbs is declaring war on ICE.
Trump and the thuggery that his agents have brought has actively made us less safe. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noam's thugs the hell out of Chicago. I'm not afraid.
25 people were shot over the weekend in Chicago. ICE is there because of the dereliction of duty by Biden and the Democrats.
You have black women with MAGA hats on in Chicago, all over the place. They want the guard to come in. There was one woman, she was great today. She said, you know what? I don't care if it's the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. I don't care who comes in as long as we're safe. And that's the way most of the public feels.
Why don't Democrats want to protect black women? First, they didn't stand up for black kids with cancer. Now this. Jussie Smollett got the benefit of the doubt in Chicago, but not ICE. Democrats keep saying this is a civil war. Well, Trump's the one trying to liberate black Americans, while they're demanding to know who's going to pick their crops. Democrats have started creating mini confederacies.
The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
An ICE-free zone kind of sounds like they're flirting with secession. Democrats are throwing around the S word. Mother Jones, it's time for soft secession. Chicago is not the only city clashing with the feds. The Portland battle is 100 days and counting. The city's rebelling against the federal government, just like in Chicago. Portland PD won't keep federal agents safe either. They actually slapped them with a zoning violation for boarding up their building's windows so Antifa can't see inside. They believe women have a right to privacy, just not ICE. An ICE facility was just shot up in Dallas, and now cartels have put bounties on their heads.
They're making plans to ambush them and to kill them. We have specific officers and agents that have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them.
We're trying to protect the country from cartels, and they're saying we're at war with Americans, and Kristi Noem should be charged with war crimes.
I think Kristi Noem should have consequences. I think she should be tried at The Hague. What we are seeing from her operation are crimes against humanity.
Agents have $10,000 death warrants and are getting doxxed with tracking apps. In Portland, an American city doesn't care. ICE agents can't even pull in and out of their office. ICE agents have been hit with sticks, shot with fireworks, roasted by lasers, and pelted with paintballs. Antifa's just walking around brandishing machetes. They tried to light their headquarters on fire. Every time they step outside, they're under attack.
There's another melee. He is... Wow.
ICE agents are even getting spit on.
But tonight we begin with new developments in the state of Illinois, where left-wing agitators are quite literally waging war against federal immigration officials. The same out in Portland, 100-plus nights of violence. Over the weekend, federal officers were boxed in by a convoy in Chicago of around 10 vehicles driven by these bad actors. One agitator, armed with a semi-automatic weapon, even rammed her car into a federal law enforcement vehicle, causing a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent to have to return fire. And look at your screen. This video, reposted by Assistant DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, shows another vehicular assault on an ICE vehicle. And meanwhile, immigration officials were also surrounded by an angry mob on the ground. But according to a shocking report from our very own Bill Malugin, Chicago's patrol chief allegedly refused to allow units to respond, leaving a handful of federal officials on their own for a significant period of time. Now, this is a claim that Chicago's police department and incompetent mayor and governor are denying. But as you can see, it was a scary weekend in and around the Windy City. Threats against ICE agents now up nationwide over 1,000%. Elected Democrats say keep pouring fuel on the fire. For example, Senator Tammy Duckworth just compared ICE agents to the Gestapo. Take a look.
They lie, right? The Trump administration lies. We have a president who's a known liar, and they have been lying about the situation all along. They are using Gestapo tactics in Chicago, and this is what Trump wants to do, right? He wants to intimidate the people of Chicago. That's not going to happen.
No, it's not the Gestapo. It's the law of our land. Meanwhile, Chicago Mayor, the ever-incompetent Brandon Johnson, claiming that ICE is operating in his city because Republicans, get this, never accepted the results of the Civil War. Not making it up. Decide for yourself.
A couple of years ago, I said very candidly that the right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
Johnson now declaring, quote, ICE-free zones in his city. By the way, a meaningless act thanks to the Supremacy Clause. That would be called the Constitution. Maybe he should read it one day. A move designed to stir anger among his radical base. Naturally, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker can never keep his big mouth shut. He's ignorant and pathetically trying to jump into the fray with the classic Democratic take. He's trying to blame Donald Trump for disturbing peace in Chicago. First of all, there is no peace in Chicago. Secondly, President Trump is trying to bring peace to Chicago because he and the mayor and every other elected official refuse to do their job and have law and order and safety and security. Take a look.
They're raiding neighborhoods where instead of going after the bad guys, they're just picking up people who are brown and black and then checking their credentials. Are you a U.S. citizen? They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago if they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do. They need to get the heck out. This raid at this building is emblematic of what ICE and CBP and the President of the United States, Kristi Noem and Greg Bovino, are trying to do. They want mayhem on the ground. They want to create the war zone so that they can send in even more troops.
Whatever happened to that fake news CNN real-time fact-checking that they were so committed to? Oh, that only applies to Donald Trump. Now, Pritzker was sworn in. Since he's been sworn in, there have been more than 4,000 murders in the city of Chicago. But he's more worried about Donald Trump disturbing the peace in the city of Chicago by sending in law enforcement and following the law and enforcing immigration law. and not the 4,000 Americans that were killed under his watch. He failed to protect innocent people in Chicago, innocent people in Illinois. Of course, this kind of dehumanization against federal officials, it's not going to end well. I pray to God I'm wrong. Keep in mind, according to the DHS secretary, they already face serious threats all across the globe. This is how bad it's getting. Take a look.
Our intelligence indicates that these people are organized. They're getting more and more people on their team as far as attacking officers, and they're making plans to ambush them and to kill them. We have specific officers and agents that have bounties that have been put out on their heads. It's been $2,000 to kidnap them, $10,000 to kill them. They've released their pictures. They've sent them between their networks, and it's an extremely dangerous situation and unprecedented.
And sadly and pathetically, Democrats don't seem to care at all about any of that. They just want to motivate their radical base, sow chaos, divide the country, and because of a selfish, nonstop, never-ending hatred of Donald Trump and his supporters. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.